I think we are live.
Yes,
Come
sir.
one, come all, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Cosmic Countdown, where myself, just my 2 cents, and my friend and co-host Aaron the Dog count down our top 100 favorite movies. I am joined by the man himself. How are you today, my friend? Great to have you, as always.
I'm doing great as always. Another week, another countdown. We're back on Thursday here and working our way through the 60s. Last week was a great time as always before the holiday. And I think that it's just going to get better from here. So looking forward to seeing if we got any more punts or if we continue to kind of go our separate ways.
Yeah, totally, dude. We've anyone that's watching, we punted on 4 so far. Will we see another one today? Now, anyone that's new, a
We
punt
returned our
is
first punt, right? Or is this our first punt? Was last week with Scream?
that is that is the second punt we fielded.
Okay,
We've done Jackie Brown and then last week
okay,
was Scream.
gotcha. Yeah,
So yeah, anyone that's new, a punt is we have the same movie, so we just punt it up the field and then get to it when it arrives on the other person's list.
yep.
So yeah, man. Well, I as always, shout out and salute to you. I appreciate you doing this show with me as usual. Shout out and salute to the Dome, the greatest group chat in the world. Thank you to my better half for creating this overlay. If you are new to the channel, and even if you're not new to the channel, smash the like button as you enter the theater. We're about to start this show properly here in just a minute or two. But yeah, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Check out Aaron the Dog, or Aaron the Puppy as he's referring to himself now, on the following places. And if there's any updates or anything on that, feel free.
Right now, we're just getting ready the new season of the TLU Trivia League Unlimited, which is my movie trivia league that I've helped start with a couple of my friends. We'll be starting in the new year, so we'll get started on the channel along with MMA breakdowns coming back as well. So pretty pumped to be back with the breakdowns in the new year as well. I'm going to be revitalized as the pup. That is why I'm Aaron the Pup, because I am reborn. I've started watching a little bit of MMA again, so rediscovering my love and my patience and everything else for this game. And it's a long road, the breakdown road, and I needed a little bit of a break, and I have no problems admitting that, and I fully expect to come back sharp as ever. So looking forward to coming back with you in the new year. So I'm going to enjoy my last month of not putting in 10 plus hours a week into making my picks, and then I'll be back in it.
Ooh, well, that's music to my ears, dude. I'm definitely glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Well, shit. Well, without further ado, let's kick this thing off today. I think so. You'll go first today.
Yeah, I have no problem going first.
Cool.
So my first movie, 65, I believe I've had a few of the studio's movies so far on the list with A24, but A24 definitely is my favorite current movie studio. I feel, allow their directors and creators to be as creative as possible, which is what I ultimately care about with my movies. And this is probably one of their most critically successful movies that's ever came out, but it's also one that I'm not a big trailer watcher. I don't like watching trailers, honestly, because I don't trust that people aren't going to spoil shit from the movie with them. But this is a trailer that I saw ahead of time, and I knew from the trailer I was going to love this movie. And it's only a little over a year old at this point. But it got ahead of the whole multiverse trend that has now been beaten into the ground by Marvel and everything else. It's everything, everywhere, all at once. This movie is an absolute trip. It deals with a Chinese immigrant who's basically swept up into this world where she alone can save what's important to her by connecting with the lives that she could have had, led in other universes. And it gets really, really trippy, very existential. Michelle Yeoh, absolutely underrated as an actress, but she's been in a ton of great shit. I really, really do like her. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, obviously, right at the top of the list for me. But even Memoirs of a Geisha, Sunshine, other movies like that. But she's never been better than this movie. And Ke Huy Kong, who's from Indiana Jones Temple of Doom as Short Round, makes his return to Hollywood, and he is just absolutely amazing as Waymond. It's a movie that just really does ponder the purpose and overall existence you have in this world and possibly other worlds, and it's hard to really explain without sounding kind of fluffy, but this movie really doesn't fluff it out. It makes it very realistic and believable, while at the same time that not being its goal. And it gets very, very weird. At one point, she is literally in a universe where she is a rock, and it has some of the most like emotional dialogue you're ever going to find. She has another world where she has hot dog fingers. Like, it gets really, really crazy, but it's also just really profound and almost feels like about as close to a mushroom trip without doing mushrooms as possible. And yeah, it's just a movie that shouldn't work as well as it does. And it's by two directors known as the Daniels. They had done Swiss Army Man with Daniel Radcliffe as well, which is ridiculous and hilarious as well. And Paul Dano's in that one. And yeah, it's just a really great one. I don't want to really spoil it much, but yeah, I'd recommend this to just about anyone. And somehow, some way, it won Best Picture. Which I don't really care about the Oscars that much, but I really do think this is kind of one of the coolest, most different movies ever to win this award. And good on the Oscars for doing that. And yeah, it's just basically about how the universe is so much bigger than you realize. And yeah, it really struck me emotionally. I've only seen it maybe once or twice, and it made my 65 favorite movies of all time. So I just think it's really strong. I think it's one that, while it feels so out there and like it shouldn't connect to as many people as it does, it's connected to just about everybody I've talked to. And so for it not being like a typical like Steven Spielberg kind of like movie where it's kind of obvious with its message, it's still managed to reach a lot of people that I don't think these types of messages and these types of themes normally reach, which I think is really cool as well. It's just like a really fun movie. It's got some great action scenes as well, some good fight scenes, great cinematography, good, just all around a really good time.
Nice, dude. I've heard really good. Like Noah said, what's up, Noah? I've heard good things as well. I saw that it won all the awards and won Best Picture, so that definitely got my antennas up for it. But yeah, I do. I love Michelle Yeoh. The things that I have seen her in, she was awesome in Crouching Tiger. But I do want to check this one out, and I do like to hear that it's not, given what kind of movie it is and what kind of movie it looks like, that it kind of it still delivers the message without getting too like out there and wild, despite what it looks like.
Yeah. I really just highly recommend checking it out and packing a big old bowl for this one, because the higher you are for it, the better.
Nice.
Yeah. No,
on the watch list.
I dig it.
Fuck yeah. Well, let me update my watch list here. The last one was The Gift from yourself, and we'll add this one. Everything, Everywhere. I'll just say that. Save. Everything, Everywhere. Nice, dude. I like good fight scenes. I'm a sucker for that. Sweet, man. Ed, do you happen to know off the top of your head where it is streaming? I can't remember if you said that or not.
Let me see. I'm not sure. It's on Prime Video. It's also
Okay.
on Paramount Plus as well. So yeah, streaming in a few places,
Awesome.
but it's on Amazon Prime.
Sick, dude. Well, I'll definitely check that one out. I've been it's been sort of on my radar, but that old Aaron the puppy stamp of approval, it's official now. Gonna have to watch it.
That's right. Bark, bark.
All right. Well, my 65 is an interesting one because it is taking quite a journey to get here. Now, originally, this movie was on the list, but it was sitting at like, I want to say it was sitting around number like 75, 80, something like that. And I was kind of struggling with ranking that week. And so I swapped it out with something and just took it off the list altogether. So this was a movie that I had previously like executed, right?
Yep.
So I'm watching the movie that I was supposed to watch this week. That was gonna be on the list, and I watched it, and it's not that I wouldn't necessarily have it on the list if I had to do it all over again, but it would be way further back, and it just didn't hit like it used to for me. I still like it. I still enjoy it. The movie I'm talking about is The Sandlot. The Sandlot was supposed to be this week. I do like The Sandlot a lot still. It's still the things that I liked about it when I was like, you know, I've been watching it for a long time now, you know, just about fucking 30 years. But it was still good, but it's a movie that I enjoyed a lot more when I was younger. So not to necessarily say that it didn't age as well, but it didn't hit as hard for me as it used to when I was like a teenager or like a young man. So The Sandlot got replaced. And the movie I replaced it with is another movie that's older than The Sandlot, but it is a movie that I truly enjoy, and it's a very popular movie. Everyone is going to know and has probably seen this movie, but it just doesn't get old, dude. It just like doesn't like get tired despite how many times it's been crammed down my throat. So without further ado, let me just drop this number 65. It should have, like I said, should have maybe been like a week, 2 or 3 back, but this deserves to be on the list. I've been thinking about it. I've been mourning it since I decided to leave it off, and it just seemed like the right time. Perfect storm. Here we go. Number 65. You've all seen it. Some of you may love it, but you all know it. Da, 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 da. Back to the Future, baby.
All right. Back to the Future is not on my list.
I respect that.
No.
It wasn't going to be on my list. But, dude, like, I've seen this movie about 157,011 times. And it's still fucking good. It is it is still so fucking funny. It's a good, like, original story. The soundtrack kicks ass. Great classic performances. Just, it's a crowd pleaser for sure. But like I said, it just doesn't.
It's a good crowd pleaser. I'll give it that.
It is, and it's just it is just withstood the test of time to me, dude. And like every time I see it, it just like, and I get done watching, I'm like, man, that was good. I enjoyed that. Like I could definitely watch. It just doesn't get old, man. No matter how much tread I put on the tires.
I watched it a ton growing up too.
Yeah, same.
I always, not even close, massively preferred the second one though.
I do like the second one. I like the second one.
Massively, I like, it's not even close to me. I massively prefer the second one.
I respect that, and I have nothing bad to say about the second one. In a world where the sequel is often maligned, I think Back to the Future 2 is a pretty damn good sequel. It's another one where it's like fucking funny, dude, and that's one of the things that like puts Back to the Future on this list, keeps it on the list. And like I said, maybe this is a little high. I probably would have had this if I kept it like I should have the first time. It would probably be like between 80 and 75. But dude, the soundtrack, the fucking performances, the one-liners, like Biff and George McFly, their dynamic is both hilarious and like, you know, like triumphant with what happens. And like Noah said he hadn't seen it, so I won't spoil it. But like, dude, Noah, quit fucking around. Crack open a cold one, fucking twist a doober, and watch Back to the Future, man.
You can watch all three. They're all the same movie, technically. Which it's so much older, but they literally are the same movie with just different skins on them, essentially.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of funny, but they all work great. I mean, Doc Brown, you can't really beat him. Biff is amazing as well, and Marty is pretty cool also.
Yeah, and I'm talking to you, McFly, you Irish bum.
Yeah, there's the weird thing about the incestual angle, which I won't.
Yeah, really that's a little weird.
It's really weird as you get older, honestly. Yeah, like as a kid, I didn't really realize how weird that was, but when I rewatched it last time, I was like, yeah, this is like extremely creepy. And
dude,
like,
so the mom is the real like ridiculous part where she's like, it's Calvin Klein, he's an absolute dream. It's like,
she wants to fuck her son.
Like that. It's like, oh my god. That part is definitely like, but I love the George like McFly like going up to her like, I'm George McFly. I'm your density.
George McFly, the peeping Tom.
Yes, it was so stupid. Grandpa hit him with a car
after he was trying to spy on a woman changing.
He's a peeping Tom. But yeah, it's dude, this movie cracks me up, man. I think it's so, dude. He gets trapped in the car, and they're hotboxing. The band is hotboxing the car, and dude, there's so many little things in this movie that I like, and dude, it is.
Yeah, Chuck, it's your cousin Marvin Berry. You've been looking for that new sound. Listen to this.
I mean, there's so many classic scenes.
It is an all-time classic, and it holds up, and it's definitely one that I look forward to showing my kids one day.
For sure.
Like, it is on that list. So I get it. This one, unlike Indiana Jones, is one that I get it. One of the 80s classics that I do get. A lot of the 80s classics I don't get. I hate E.T. I will not make that.
I'm not a big E.T. guy myself either.
E.T. is the most overrated movie ever.
I think it's a little overrated, yeah, for sure.
Like in Indiana Jones, but Back to the Futures are all right with me.
Well, that's that. Hey, dude, I like to hear that. Let's fucking go. Shout out to the two people chilling in the chat. Smash the like button for sure. Hope y'all are enjoying this countdown. Well, that's it for my 65.
All right, cool. Well, we start out with two time travel-ish movies. This next one, it's another A24 movie. And this is from probably my favorite director working today.
Dude, do you even like that studio at all? Do you even watch A24, bro?
My dog's collar is A24. This director, his name is Yorgos Lanthimos. He's a Greek director. And he actually has a movie coming out this year that looks amazing called Poor Things, which I am super excited to check out here coming up. As Emma Stone in it, Mark Ruffalo, Willem Dafoe. I mean, and then one of my favorite comedians of all time, Gerard Carmichael. He's in the movie as well. So that's coming out later this year. It's not that. And everything this director has done so far, I have loved. The Favorite is another one I really like. That is not what it is, though. It is The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Have you seen The Killing of a Sacred Deer?
Not only have I not seen it, I have not even heard of it.
Okay, this movie is beyond fucked up. It's on Netflix and also on Paramount Plus. Check this movie out ASAP. So Yorgos Lanthimos has a very specific way he kind of has his people act in his movies, they often talk very deliberately and almost lacking emotion. It feels like almost like humans playing people for the movies. And while that sounds like it wouldn't work, it really does work. So this is starring Colin Farrell, Nicole Kidman, Barry Keoghan. Barry Keoghan just was in a new movie called Saltburn. He's great in it. The movie itself is okay, but Barry Keoghan, I feel like, is one of the best actors acting today. And Colin Farrell is one of my favorite actors of the last 20 years. So Colin Farrell plays Dr. Stephen Murphy, who's a cardiologist, or cardiovascular surgeon, I should say. And he has this relationship with this kid named Martin, whose dad died actually while having surgery performed on him by Colin Farrell's character. And Killing of a Sacred Deer, it takes a Greek myth of the same name, and basically slowly his kids start to not be able to walk, not be able to eat, and then later in the movie, it's kind of revealed that Martin has basically cursed Dr. Murphy's family because of what Dr. Murphy did. Dr. Murphy was drunk during surgery, and it's kind of like a karmatic psychological horror type of story. And this movie, it just holds nothing back at all. It is, I'm not going to really spoil it very much here, but it does it really reminds me of like a movie like that someone like Stanley Kubrick would make. It is really methodical. It's really fucked up. And the performances are just incredible. The final scene won't leave your head anytime soon either. And it ends up that, the father has to make basically a tragic decision to kill one of his family members or else they'll all die. So I'm not going to give away much more than that, but this movie is one of the earlier A24 movies that really got me into the studio as a whole. And yeah, Colin Farrell is amazing in it. Nicole Kidman is great. And Barry Keoghan playing Martin, who's like infiltrated this family and like is just like a dead-eyed kind of psychopath. He's kind of just one of the best villains of the last 10 plus years. And yeah, the less you know about this, the better. But yeah, it's not for everybody, but I think some of my favorite movies, that's how it works. And I just think for the most part, over time, people have come around to this. I know when it came out, people didn't really get it like they do now, but yeah, I highly recommend it. It's an absolute trip.
Nice, dude. Added. I like the setup. I like psychological thrillers or psychological horrors that have that kind of setup with like wealthy people, and they do fuck up things, and fucked up things happen to them, and it's all in this like kind of crazy like backdrops like that. So it kind of is looking like that. So it's enticing for sure.
Yeah, it's a wild movie.
Nice, dude. I love Colin Farrell in dramatic roles.
Yeah.
I think he's a really good dramatic actor.
Yeah, this is one of his best, honestly. And he's worked with Yorgos a couple times now, and one of Yorgos Lanthimos' other movies is on my list much, much later. So
like I can't stand Colin Farrell when he's just being that like silly, like Irish, but I can't stand that shit. But like when he's like he's got some good acting chops when he really like sinks his teeth into a role.
Yeah, he's dialed in all the way on this one.
Fuck yeah. Well, shit, man. Getting some more good ones. My watch list is ever growing.
Yep. Yeah. I think you'll really like that one. And yeah, I know a lot of people who enjoy that. So yeah,
nice.
Highly recommend it if that sounds good to anybody else. I'm just not going to talk too much about it.
Dude, curse movies are fucked up too, man. Because there's just like this sense of hopelessness about them, where it's like there's nothing you can do. You're cursed.
Yeah, and because he's a doctor, he's looking for kind of medical explanations to what's going on for so much of the movie that he's denying kind of what's happening right in front of him.
That's wild. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that shit. All right, sorry, I'm updating this stuff. I'm a horrible multitasker. All right, well, my number 64 is, it's an interesting one because it was kind of polarizing when it came out with critics. Like, it's got, if you look at it on like any rating site, it's got kind of mixed reviews. But it has since kind of achieved a cult status like in recent years. I'm really happy about that. A fair amount of people have seen this movie, so I'm not going to say it's one that, like, you know, if you're, you know, you like, it's a crime thriller, so if you like those kind of movies, you probably heard of it and seen it. But it's one that I still think continues to be like slightly underrated and underseen, moreover. But like I said, it's a crime thriller. It's a neo-Western. It's definitely, I would say it's neo-noir too. It's got those elements of it. It is written and directed by the writer of The Usual Suspects. I know we were talking about the director of that movie before our stream started, but this is the debut film for Christopher McQuarrie from 2000. My number 64th favorite movie, The Way of the Gun.
I've never seen it.
This movie fucking rocks. It's wild. So Ryan Phillippe and Benicio del Toro basically play a pair of criminals, and they kidnap the surrogate mother of this like rich, shady, like he's like a developer, like money launderer for the mob and a bunch of shady people. It kicks off a crazy chain of events. But this movie is like, there's some movies where there's like well, not just movies, but there's an expression where it's like, such and such is greater than the sum of its parts. I don't necessarily know that that's true with this one. I think this movie is the sum of its parts. The plot is kind of a mess. A lot of shit happens, and there's a lot of twists and turns, and almost like too many for some people. Like, it almost gets like borderline convoluted. But what this movie definitely has is a lot of like great individual scenes that are either like really well acted or crazy shit happens. Like, the kidnapping scene itself is fucking gnarly, and I think it's one of the best like Mexican like standoff scenes. It's this one you're looking at right here in the Avatar. Taye Diggs and Nikki Katt play these bodyguards that are they're guarding Juliette Lewis. She plays the surrogate mother. She's really good in it. Phillippe and Del Toro kill it. And it also has one of the supporting actors is the late, great James Caan. There's a great diner scene with him and Benicio del Toro. You see right there where they're talking about the different types of fuckheads you have to deal with when you're in their line of work. And this movie just has like a lot of great scenes. And it's a crazy movie. There's not that many likable characters, but it's really funny. The gunfights are really well choreographed. People will go on and on and on and on and on about Heat and how accurate it is, and the fact that the Marine Corps uses it in their training videos and blah, blah, blah. Well, Christopher McQuarrie's brother, Doug McQuarrie, is a Navy SEAL, and he did the technical advising for the shootout scenes in this movie. So they're all really well choreographed and realistic looking. The emptying of the magazines, having to reload, like taking a room, like moving from room to room with two guys. Like it's badass, man. This movie is cool as fuck. It's crazy. There's a bunch of like tough guy dialogue that's really well written by McQuarrie. He's a really fucking good writer. And he's a good director too, as it shows in this movie. it's not for everybody. It's really violent, and like I said,
I'm looking at the ratings on my Letterboxd, and they go from 1 star to 4.5 stars to 2.5 to 3 to 2 to 4. It's all over the
very
place.
very polarizing movie.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone. It is definitely what I would consider like a dude movie.
Yeah.
But I think it's fucking badass. I think at the very end of it, if you just like don't think about it too hard, don't try and like figure out whose motives are what. Just like if you appreciate what you see in front of you, I think you're gonna find a really badass and honestly pretty fucking cold-blooded action or crime thriller. It's one of my favorites.
I didn't even know Christopher McQuarrie directed this. So
yeah, it was his first one.
Yeah, wow. Very interesting. And after seeing kind of the range of reviews, you don't see that a lot on Letterboxd. A lot of times people kind of all start to migrate towards one or the other. And here, some people gave it 1, some people gave it 4.5, 4, 3s. Like, yeah, it does look very polarizing. And yeah, I'm interested to check it out for myself.
Fuck yeah, dude. This is one that I will tell anyone that listens how fucking underrated and sick this fucking movie is.
Interesting. Yeah, no, that really, really interesting. Yeah, I'll check it out. I see it's on Tubi and a few other places, so I will add it to my list.
Sick.
All right. 63 for me. We're going back to the 80s. This is a movie that looking at it now might be a little bit too low on my personal list because it is one of my favorite comedies of all time from one of my favorite comedians of all time, and Eddie Murphy, who I believe I talked about last week with Scott. This is Coming to America.
Nice.
Yeah, just all-timer for me. I can remember the first time I saw this, the amount of one-liners in this movie is basically the entire script. Eddie Murphy plays, I think, 3 or 4 different roles in this movie. Randy Watson being my favorite, but also Clarence the Barber, Prince Akeem. Sammy, played by Arsenio Hall, is extremely great. Just James Earl Jones playing King Jafar of Zamunda, which is a made-up
the king of Zamunda.
Yeah, John Amos running McDowell's, which is not McDonald's, it's McDowell's. They have the
he is so good.
Yeah, we have the Golden Arch, and he plays the father of the daughter who Prince Akeem, played by Eddie Murphy, ends up falling in love with, and Shari Headley. And it's got a really great heart to it as well. Because, Prince Akeem is supposed to get married to who they set him up with, and he wants to go fall in love. So where does he go? He goes to Queens, New York to find his queen, because that's where all the great women are. And yeah, he wants to be so badly be a commoner. He lives in the most ghetto ass fucking apartment with there's a chalked out body on the floor. He's the guy who Frankie Faison plays the landlord, and he's I rented this to a blind man.
What does he yell out the window when he in the morning pisses everybody off?
He's like, good morning, my neighbors.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Yes. Fuck you too. He's they are so rich here, they throw their trash on the street. Just goes to the barber shop where Eddie Murphy plays an old Jewish man and has the best Jewish accent you're ever going to hear.
Dude, yeah. I love when they're arguing about the boxing. Cassius Clay, Cassius Clay. And then he brings up Rocky Marciano.
Yeah, you ain't never met no Cassius Clay. Fuck you. Fuck you and fuck you. Who's next? Arsenio Hall plays one of the guys in the barbershop as well. Eddie Murphy has 5 or 6 roles. This is I think the original Eddie Murphy movie with multiple roles as well. Eric LaSalle playing Daryl, who is the Soul Glow model. And every time him and his family sit on a couch, they get up and there's just a big grease stain behind them on the couch.
Dude, I love that fucking running gag of Soul Glow, that fucking Jerry curl shit. God.
Yeah, and I know they made a sequel to this movie. I never saw the sequel because it was made so long after it was PG-13. This movie is a hard R as well, which like just adds so much to the movie. And it's also got a really great kind of like love story to it as well. And it doesn't get in the way of the movie. It just adds to the movie. And like at one point, they're like, "What university you go to?" American University. They're like, American University. It's like a great fish out of water story. Yeah, that's right, Moise. ATP is in the house.
What up, Chico?
Yeah. And yeah, just overall, this is a movie I grew up on. Watched it way too early, and just absolutely hard rated R, like a hard rated R movie. Noah,
dude, I love the montage of like the would-be suitors where he's just like going through.
One of them's played by Arsenio. Yeah, one of them's played by Arsenio Hall, the big ugly woman played by Arsenio Hall, the rapping Peaches and whatever, Peaches and Cream, I think was the two rapping. Like it's just, this movie is absolutely hilarious. I feel like
DJs want to feel my breasts.
The royal penis is clean, Your Highness.
Dude, like, I love that shit when he's in Zamunda and like all the shit is just laid out before him.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's like talking to his family at like breakfast, and they're like communicating through like a intercom on the table because the table's
so fucking long.
Yeah, and like it's just like the big dude who sings "He's Your Queen, She's Your Queen to Be," and he's just like this deadpan giant dude. Like it's so funny, and I think it influenced so much comedy moving forward. And I've watched this movie. This is one of the most watched movies of my childhood, and it holds up as an adult. Probably as funnier as I've gotten older, and it's probably way too long on my personal list, honestly, I'm realizing. So
nice. Yeah, dude, I like Coming to America. It's definitely a good one. I don't watch it all that often, but every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, this is a good one.
And the sequel completely ruined the legacy. I'm pretty sure they made the sequel PG-13, and I never watched it. I never will. This movie exists on its own.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, John Landis, great comedic director as well, and this is his best.
Fuck yeah, dude. Good shout, man. I like it, dude. If I love some Eddie Murphy. If it would have been socially acceptable, I would have put Raw on my list. It's just a stand-up special, but like Eddie Murphy Raw is still one of my top like stand-up specials of all time.
I agree.
Well, shit, man. God, these are. I just feel like this list isn't long enough. I feel like we're gonna go through these so quick. Even though it's been going on for a while, it's like
this is month number 2.
They go by so fast.
We're not even halfway through the list yet, so we got plenty left.
All right. Well, number 63 for me is a movie that I have been watching for a while, and as I've grown older, it is aged really, really fucking well and just keeps getting better over the years. Because like I said, when I was younger, I appreciated it for different reasons, and I didn't realize how good it was and how funny some of the characters are. It's a comedy. You probably all seen this one too, or have at least heard of it. I don't have too much of a crazy introduction, so I'll just go ahead and hit you with it. Number 63 for me is a comedy. It is a high school comedy. It is a coming of age teen comedy. Like I said, it is aged so well, and it is one of the best in that genre to me. After having after having watched it for 30 years now and seen some of the other ones and how they've aged and whatever. So number 63 for me is, I believe the year is we're taking it back to 1995. 1995, number 63, Amy Heckerling's Clueless.
Oh, wow. Look at you. Not on my list. Was not expecting this one to come up.
This movie is so fucking funny, dude. Like, yeah, when I was like a teenager, and make no mistake about it, like Alicia Silverstone and Stacey Dash and the late Brittany Murphy, as you see there, are all smoking fucking hot in this movie. But it's aged so well. Like, it is just it doesn't feel that dated. It still feels like fresh and cool, but it's way funnier than I remember. There's some real great underrated characters that like I just didn't appreciate until I got older. One of the first ones I have to shout out. My foot hurts. Can I go to the nurse? Fucking Elton. He is one of the best rich douchebag, like rich kid pricks. He's so good in this role. Like Jeremy Sisto fucking kills it as Elton, dude. She like they're in the car and Cher's trying to be like, didn't Ty look good? He's singing the Cranberries, turn away, turn away. You know you're one of my best friends. He's like trying to mac on Cher, dude. That he kills it. Very underrated character. And one character in particular that really stood out to me that I was like, man, I did not realize like how good this character was and like how relatable now as I've gotten older. But dude, one of like the true heroes of this movie, honestly. Shout out to Breckin Meyer and one of the best stoner characters ever in Travis Birkenstock. I just got to give it up, dude. He is so fucking funny. The like giving this speech, he gets like the most tardies in the class, and he like goes up like he's accepting a fucking Oscar. He's like, this is so unexpected. I didn't even have a speech prepared. Like, tardiness is not something that you can do on your own. He's like, many people have contributed to my tardiness. Like, dude, he's so funny, and like he fucking smokes with Cher and Ty at the party, and I love the would-be romance between him and Brittany Murphy. And I mean, everybody's seen this movie, so I'm not really spoiling anything. But like, it's the Paul Rudd's character is hilarious, dude. Dan Hedaya or whatever as Cher's dad kills it. God, he is funny. Like when he's like yelling, get out of my chair. It's like, hi, nice to meet you. Dude, this movie fucking rocks. The soundtrack is killer. It features a fucking live Mighty Mighty Boss Tones performance. They're like playing at the party that they're at. So like the music is awesome. The performances are great. Amy Heckerling, who did Fast Times at Ridgemont High, she really knows high school movies and like high school comedy. And this is one of the best, man. It's like, I like it because it pokes fun at like high school cliques and the cool kids and all that superficial shit. But it's also like a cool movie at the same time. And like I said, it really doesn't feel that old when you watch it. It still feels pretty fresh, and like you change some of the clothes and shit, and it could really be like any time. Like a lot of the messages still hit. And yeah, dude, I fucking love this movie, and it has just gotten better with age to me.
Yeah, I would give Fast Times my edge of the Heckerling, but I totally understand people who do love this movie. It's one for me that I'm kind of middle of the road on. I'm definitely not like a huge fan of it, but I haven't watched it in a while. I don't hate the movie, but that's why it's on your list. I did not expect this to come up.
Dude, because when I watched it, when I rented this shit when I was like 13, 14, it's like, dude, I gotta see Alicia Silverstone. How fucking dude. And maybe this is like my obsession with Alicia Silverstone. She's like been a celebrity crush of mine for a while, and I mean, it definitely started with Clueless, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. So I can agree with you on that. But yeah, I don't have too much more to say. I've only seen it maybe once.
Oh, dude, man, Clueless definitely deserves a rewatch. A young Paul Rudd, and yeah, man, some very, very funny. I can't remember his name. The dude that's in Scrubs. He plays Dee's boyfriend, Murray. He's fucking hilarious too.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, I'll move on to my 62, which is changing changing tone quite a bit here. We're going back to the 70s. One of my favorite decades of film ever, if not my favorite. And this is honestly one of, I think, the best horror movies I've ever seen before. It's Robin Hardy's The Wicker Man, which, if you've not seen the original 70s The Wicker Man, you need to see this. This movie is unbelievable. It's about so I had seen the Nicolas Cage version first, and that movie is like so bad it's good, but
Oh yeah.
it is first and foremost bad. This movie is just a slow burn kind of police mystery horror movie almost, where a police sergeant named Neil Howie, he has called to a remote island where he's searching for a missing girl who locals claim never existed, and it just gets really weird from there. He gets trapped onto this island. It deals with a lot of kind of religious and thematic themes as well, of believing or not believing, and just the inevitability of where it's leading when he's realizing that he's kind of been trapped into this place. Christopher Lee plays Lord Summerisle, and you'll never see him the same ever again. There's some great just like songs in this, like ritual songs and dances as well. It feels very believable once again. And the ending 10 minutes where you kind of come to realize, or the main character Neil Howie comes to realize that he doesn't have the faith he's been kind of projecting himself to have when he's in the Wicker Man and it's burning and everything like that. Truly, your true beliefs come out, and it's just like those don't save you from what's coming. And it's just, I mean, it is just, I think it's just an incredible build up to that. It's 88 minutes long. This director, Robin Hardy, hasn't done like any other movies either. He did a movie called The Wicker Tree in 2011 that looks horrible. But like he made I think the best folk horror movie of all time. And there's been some really great folk horror movies. Huge inspiration to Midsommar, which is one of my favorite movies also. Just like a huge inspiration to so many horror movies after it as well. And yeah, it's just really great, really bleak. And it's like, even though like it's one of these movies kind of like Carrie, where most people know the conclusion before they see it, and it really doesn't take away from it at all. And it still feels like you feel like he's going to get out, even though he doesn't. Like,
yeah, I like what you said about I can't remember exactly how you put it, but that it feels believable, like it could actually happen. And it's one of those movies where it's like nothing crazy like jumps out at you immediately, but it's just like slowly but surely before you know it, and now it's too late.
Yep. And by the time he realizes it and he's trying to get off of the island, it's
too late.
It's too late. And like the true exposing of like, it's like that Fuel song, who's your saving one, Jesus or a gun? It's kind of like that basically, where it's just like all of a sudden all that praying is gone, and it's just pure begging and pleading and hoping that you can get out, and just realizing you can't. And like when the Wicker Man gets lit up, it's just an impressive set piece. They start dancing and singing, and they're sacrificing him because their crops have stopped growing, and they think this is a way that their crops are going to start growing. So it's like, again, just like the two sides of the faith coin, while not pointing out like that, oh, there is no God, there is no faith. Like, it's not necessarily even saying that. It's just maybe, pointing out that the tools that they're using for their faith on both sides is not the right application of it, almost.
Right.
So it's not just like, oh, there is nothing is real. I don't think it's necessarily a nihilistic movie, which a lot of times faith examined movies, especially in the horror realm, end up being. It's a lot more I feel like deeper than that. And yeah, again, Lord Summerisle, played by Christopher Lee, you'll never see him the same again. And yeah, I just really dig this one. Edward Woodard, who hasn't been in a ton, but he was in Hot Fuzz as well. I dig this movie a lot. And it's one of these where I think, unfortunately, the shitty remake has overshadowed the original masterpiece.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, people, when you say The Wicker Man, they're like, "Oh, the Nicolas Cage movie." Like, no, that one sucks. Like, no, the fucking original one is great. It's one of those classic horror movies where it's like less is more. It's not so much like the jump scares or anything. It is the unsettling, unnerving feeling of hopelessness, and it's like there's nothing you can do. Like, no matter how much you beg and plead, this is gonna happen now, and it's just gonna happen. And it's just like that slow, horrible realization that like it's hopeless. Like, it's just, you're fucked.
Yep.
It's a very real, and like you said, like, feels like this shit can happen. Like, it's like, okay, innocent enough. You go out on this island, like there's only
probably
one
way
off. Like, yeah,
it probably has happened in some way or another.
Definitely, dude. And those kind of like setups and premises are a little bit more unnerving than like some supernatural shit where it's like, okay, there's no fucking way that that's gonna happen. Like,
yeah.
I like it, dude. Good
yep.
shit. Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, I really did like it at the time. I was high as a fucking kite, and I might need to watch it again.
Let me see if it's playing anyway. It's on Tubi, like everything. Great.
Right.
Tubi's awesome if you don't mind a couple ads in the middle of your movie.
Hell fucking no, dude. Shout out to Tubi, because I've been watching Swamp Thing on Tubi, and that show was tight, and I could not find that fucking anywhere. You had to pay for DC Extended Universe bullshit app to watch that before. So I was like, dude, shout out.
Tubi has a ton of movies, and they do have some commercials in there, but that gives you time to get onto your phone for a second. So,
but I'll tell you what, they aren't as bad as some other ones that make you watch commercials. Hulu is terrible with the shows they have commercials on, man. Like, Tubi rocks.
I'm glad the person I steal Hulu from got the ad free, because I've had to watch the ads before, and it literally doubles the length of the show.
Dude, seriously, that really pissed me off when Hulu switched to that, because it was awesome before, man. The ad-free Hulu was, because there's so many fucking good shows on there. But yeah, after the fucking that ad shit started happening, it definitely they dropped on my queue. But well, good shit, man. Yeah, The Wicker Man fucking rocks.
Yeah.
All right, so number 62 for me. So this movie kind of got moved around. It was always going to be on my list, but I kind of had a tough time slotting it. But same with this week too. I knew that it was going to be there. I knew it was going to be this week, but I didn't know exactly where it was going to fit in these five. So I watched it, and I realized that I had it too low. I had it at like number 65. And it was I've been doing this a lot with these movies. Like, I'll watch them and be like, fuck, this is too low. Like, I got to rocket this up the list. But I kept it to this week, but it was definitely one of the higher ones for me. Coming in at number 62, this is a graphic novel adaptation, comic book, whatever. And to me, it is one of the best and widely considered one of the most faithful. The reviews from critics were a little polarizing, as were from audiences, but to me, this is one of the best, whatever, if you want to call it a superhero movie, fine. It's one of the best graphic novel adaptations. This movie kicks ass, and there was no fucking way that it was going to be left off my list. So coming in at number 62, for me, 2009, I believe. We're taking it to 2009. Zack Snyder's Watchmen.
Good movie. Yeah, great graphic novel. And way ahead of its time.
What I like about the movie is that it did change a couple things, but I felt like the changes that they made for the most part fit with the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you look, like, no spoiler alert, in the graphic novel, the thing at the end is a giant fucking octopus squid thing. And it's just like, I don't know how that would have translated. So that
Have
maybe
you seen the show?
I have not seen the show.
So the show does stick more to the graphic novel. It does work. You should check out the show for sure.
Right. Yeah, I've heard good things about the show. I do need to watch it. So I will just say about this. There are, and a lot of people like the source material more than the film adaptation. That's fine. That's fair. I have no argument with that. I personally like the movie better. I've read Watchmen. I own Watchmen. I'm looking at it right now, as a matter of fact. But to me, the movie hits harder for a couple different reasons. One, first and foremost, is the visuals, man. This movie looks fucking incredible. And I was a little worried when I watched it. I was like, man, is this movie like, I hope it hasn't aged like badly. Like, I hope the CGI, nah, dude, the CGI, with a couple exceptions, looks incredible, dude. And that's first and foremost what sticks out to me. And there are some, I will give Zack Snyder credit for this. He used the graphic novel as for storyboards. So some of the scenes in this, there's a couple scenes that are straight out of the graphic novel. Some of the fight scenes are expanded, obviously, but like, there's a couple scenes or shots where it's like, holy shit, that's right from the fucking novel. And I really like some of the montage scenes or some of the scenes that have music over the top of them. The opening titles in particular stand out. The Times They Are Changing. That's a great song choice, and it really fits with the opening. And yeah, dude, the Sound of Silence at the comedian's funeral, dude. The Dr. Manhattan's origin story is just as rousing as ever. That's one of my favorite parts of the graphic novel and the movie is Manhattan's origin, and that's where the shit gets kind of heady and existential. And that's some of my favorite parts. I also, dude, shout out to Jackie Earle Haley for killing it as Rorschach. Like, that's another part that I really has like grown on me, because the movie is kind of a mystery / detective story. It's kind of like Rorschach and Night Owl basically trying to figure out who's killing the superheroes and who's out to get them. And dude, he does an awesome job. Patrick Wilson does a really good job too, man. This is one of his better efforts in this kind of movie. He really does a good job as playing the ex superhero who's gotten old and pudgy and kind of like lost his fucking mojo. And Rorschach kind of like helps him rediscover his purpose. And that's their partnership and their relationship is one of the things I like about it. Manhattan's origin story was just like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. And yeah, dude, some of the visuals and performances really stood out to me, and just the faithfulness for the most part, considering some of the other film adaptations of graphic novels, this is one that for the most part sticks pretty close to it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like, I do think it said a lot, but this movie was just ahead of its time in a way that I feel like if it came out now would be probably much better received. And I feel like just over time it's gotten more well received. And yeah, I mean, that's fair. I do prefer the graphic novel. The show is really great, but the movie is not bad. And I've never seen the director's cut of the movie also, so I'd be
Me neither. I need to do that.
Because I'd definitely be willing to see the Snyder cut. Yeah, I think that I think that like this movie is one of the most overhated movies in a long time, because
totally, dude,
that opening is incredible as well. With Times Are Changing, that really is great. And I feel like this is it's a hard, it's definitely a hard work to adapt. And I think that Zack Snyder, it's probably one of his best works, honestly.
I agree. And like this was originally supposed to be a Terry Gilliam movie, and he's famously quoted as saying like this movie you cannot adapt, like you cannot put this movie on the screen. It's like unadaptable or whatever. And yeah, Zack Snyder, I feel like he is like, for all of his faults, I feel like this kind of big scale like shit is something that only someone like him could kind of pull off. And like, yeah, way ahead of its time. And it still holds up pretty well, man. A lot of the visuals still fucking look just incredible.
Yeah, I would have loved to see Terry Gilliam do this movie.
It would have been wild.
I love Terry Gilliam so much. One of his movies is in my, I believe, top 10.
Oh shit.
Won't talk about it anytime soon, but we'll get to it eventually. But yeah, good. And yeah, Michael's with you. The ending is better in the movie.
What up, boy? Yeah, dude. I do like, because in the ending, dude, if you do not like the bad guy, the ending gives you like no kind of like nothing where you're just like, can this guy get it in some fucking way? Can something happen to this motherfucker? So yeah, I do like that the ending. Yeah, it was I for sure.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we're just going back and forth with tones and themes here. For my 61 here, probably my most heartfelt movie on my list. It's really a beautiful, heartwarming movie as well. It's from 2016, director John Carney. It's called Sing Street. Have you ever heard of Sing Street?
No, I have not.
So this movie, it takes place in the 80s. Boy meets girl, girl's unimpressed, boy starts band. And it has some of the best original music in a movie I've ever watched. Really, really great performances, but especially by Jack Reynor, who is also in Midsommar. He's been in a bunch of movies as well, but I don't think he's ever been better. And Jack Reynor plays kind of a burnt out brother, and his brother is Connor, who goes as Cosmo, and he's who wants to start a band to impress this girl named Rafina. And it's just kind of this misfit group of kids who start a band. It's almost like Sandlot in the 80s with music. We'd also compare it maybe to like kind of like a La La Land type of movie where it really is like about going for your dreams and not letting anybody deny you what your dreams are. And they start like making music videos, and it's just an all around really great time, man. I feel like it's one of the it's so pure, it's so fun. It is on Tubi again, so with so many of these movies, it's a great movie. You could watch it with the missus. I think that you both would really enjoy it. Some of the original music in it, Drive It Like You Stole It, is one of the songs. It's great. My personal favorite song is Up, which is in the movie, and when that's played in the movie, like it's hard not to get a little bit emotional as it's going. Like, I'm not gonna lie. In this movie, it's such a good time, man. Like it is really one of the movies I've recommended more than any movie that's come out over the last decade, for sure. Dogs barking at something, but whatever. Chico,
Get him, Chico.
Chico. But
Get him, Chico. Get him.
yeah. Don't tempt him. Compared to like an Almost Famous, almost as well, like in terms of tone. Just one of these movies.
I like Almost Famous, so I'll give it a shot for sure.
Yeah, it's just like that. It's just like one of these movies where it's like, go for your dreams, do them how you do them, and don't let anybody stop you. And the ending of the movie definitely gets me very emotional as well. And it ends with, on a black screen that says For Brothers on it. And with me being very close with my brother, but at times was very not close with my brother, that really hits close to home for me as well. And yeah, just great music in it. Great message. It's really fun. It's got awkward moments as well. And it just feels so genuine and kind of intent, like truly what this director wanted to make. And John Carney's made a bunch of really great music movies as well. He just came out with one called Flora and Son, but Begin Again and Once are both also really great movies, where at the heart of it is the music, and that is the heart of this movie is the music. And then it has a great kind of coming of age story to go with it as well. It's put in the 80s, has like great homages to Duran Duran, David Bowie, all sorts of kind of the music of that generation, while not just being covers of them, but original songs as well. So I highly recommend this one. It's one that a lot of people in my circle have come around to see, and I don't know anybody who has not at least been like, yeah, that's good, if not great. I mean, it's a 5-star movie for me. Every movie from here on out is, and this one is no exception. And it really did encourage me, like 7 years ago when I saw it, to really continue down my path of doing what I wanted to do with my life. And it's just kind of one of those movies. So, yeah, it's a great time, great music, really well shot as well, and just kind of has a classic story to go along with it while not being cliche.
Nice, dude. Well, I'm going to add that to the list, and I will definitely holler at the missus about that, because she's always up to watch a movie like that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Nice. All right. Street.
We almost had our first wedding dance song be the song Up. We almost had that be our first dance.
Nice. That's funny. All right. Well, my last movie of the week is another one that everyone and their whole families have fucking seen this movie. But it fucking hits just about every single time I watched it. Coming up, I think this is the 30-year anniversary of this movie. So this movie is 30 years old. I can admit there's a couple parts that maybe look a little dated, but it's 30 years old. It's going to happen at some point. But it's still like really fucking good. And in some ways it's better than when I watched it when I was younger. So without further ado, number 61 for me, like I said, big old famous movie, big old blockbuster, big old Stevie Spiel movie, taking it back to 1993, the big old blockbuster banger. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Yep, not a punt. It's not on my list.
So I saw this movie in theaters. I saw it in a second run theater when I was a kid. Shortly after it came out. So I'm like 9 or 10 years old. It's one of the craziest experiences I've had in a movie theater. Like seeing that as a 10-year-old kid was just insane. And there's like a couple parts of this movie that are still like, dude, the build up to the T-Rex attack is still just an excellent exercise in tension building. Yep. Slowly but surely ramping up the tension until the reveal. And like some of the parts of it you can tell, okay, that's an animatronic dinosaur, but dude, some like the Triceratops, it looks incredible, dude. Like they really pulled out all the stops. The stuff that's not CGI, the CGI looks pretty good for fucking 1993, but it's the stuff, the practical effects that really stand out. And that, like I said, it's fucking 30 years old. It still looks pretty damn good. Way more so than like some of the shit in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Granted, that's another 10 years before. But anyways, this movie fucking rocks, man. Like it is still a thrilling fucking science fiction adventure. The performances are great. Jeff Goldblum is so fucking good as Ian Malcolm. Sam Neill and Laura Dern do a really great job. Attenborough is great as Richard Hammond. Or John Hammond. What is it? John Hammond?
John Hammond.
John Hammond.
Richard Attenborough, but John Hammond.
Richard Attenborough. Yes.
Sir Richard Attenborough.
All right. Yes, indeed. Dude, it's classic for a reason. It was a big blockbuster for a reason. I watched it this week and still enjoyed the adventure and still feel like I was taken on a ride. And yeah, dude, it's got a great ending. The music, oh god, the music's good. Like one of John Williams' finest scores in a sea of many. So yeah, this is one of Steven Spielberg's better movies to me, and it all comes together for a big old fucking yeah.
Yeah, so I like this movie a lot more as an adult than I did as a kid. As a kid, I couldn't respect the restraint, honestly, because like for me, I wasn't a big dinosaur kid for one. I just didn't. It just never really clicked for me. I don't know. I was like, they're cool, but it wasn't an interest for me. So I kind of found this movie boring for the longest time as a kid, which I know probably seems like blasphemy. I loved the opening as a kid. The opening scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, dude, fuck yeah.
But I felt like after the opening, it kind of lost steam for me for a lot of the movie. But like as an adult, I've revisited this one, and you know, especially seeing the shit we get now with Jurassic Park, like it's just like you realize what you have once it's gone in a way. But yeah, nothing violent happens for the first hour besides the Velociraptor attack, which when you're older, you realize they don't really even show anything in the Velociraptor attack. That's what good direct. But like Laura Dern's face when she first sees the Brontosaurus, that's like, I don't know if that's the first time they did the looking to the sky with your mouth open, but she's like the iconic for that. And Sam Neill, like I still see him as that character in every movie.
Same.
Like it is who, like it felt like he wasn't acting almost. And like when he like makes the threat with the claw about like tearing him open like a turkey to the fat kid who's like talking shit. Like that's all so great. The kids are annoying as hell. And as an adult, I still wish that one of the kids would have got. Not gonna lie, the Velociraptors. When like the Velociraptors are like stalking around in the kitchen, it's just like a slasher movie essentially at that.
Totally.
And it really does work. But yeah, as a kid, I really didn't. This wasn't a movie I revisited a lot. I thought it was boring. I thought not a lot really happened. So, and then as an adult, I've realized more why that kind of is what makes it great in a way. But yeah.
Totally, because it's not a high body count. It's only a few people get killed in the whole movie, but yeah,
the guy who gets killed on the toilet's hilarious.
Dude, it's so good, and they make the kids like properly annoying, and I love that. I love how he's just like, these kids are so fucking obnoxious, and like that. I think that hits really well.
Yeah, but as an adult, I've definitely appreciated more, especially seeing what we've gotten afterwards, because it's been a diminishing return with each movie almost.
Yeah. Dude, the whole introduction, so like, yeah, I liked dinosaurs when I was a kid for sure, but I feel like one thing that like the introduction of the Velociraptors like took it to a different level, because most people, even when you were a kid, you knew what a T-Rex was. Like, yeah, Tyrannosaurus Rex. So like, everyone had seen the Land Before Time and shit. Like, people knew what a T-Rex was, but like, the Velociraptor was such a like gnarly antagonist, and they did a good job of like, yeah, the off-scene violence, the giving. I love when he's like Muldoon or whatever is describing like how smart the raptors are. Like, this one looks at you, you can tell she's working things out. Like they were testing the fences for weaknesses systematically.
Yeah,
they remember. It's like, dude, these things are fucking dangerous and really smart. And I love all that, the build up. And yeah, I can see that as like a younger person where you're just like, get to the fucking dinosaur murder.
I was like 5 or 6. I was checked out really quickly. And I was like, I'm not listening. Like, I'm watching and I'm bored. Like, that is what I remember. I remember a lot of kids who were into dinosaurs being mad at me for that opinion.
Dude, this is like a nerd's like science fiction thriller, because like it's a lot of like talking, and it's a lot of like But I love the whole when they're at the table and they're eating dinner and they're talking about like he's trying to sell them on the park and they're all going around and telling him how fucked up this is and crazy and they're like some shit is about to happen and he's like the only one on my side is the blood sucking lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's funny. It's exciting, and dude, it's one of those crowd pleasers that I think it hits and is pretty sasatisfying each time.
Yeah, it's sad to see what has become of it with the Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Jurassic World was the worst. They just the worst. They had Killer Locust. That was like the big bad. I'm like, we're fucking done. We're done. But yeah, I mean, I respect it, man. I mean, if I was a few years older the first time I saw it, maybe it would have worked a little better. But being 5 years old and seeing that for the first time, I was like, what is the hype here, people? Like, I get it. Dinosaurs are cool, but nothing's happening. So that's all I've revisited it, but I still can't quite completely get that original taste out of my mouth, which was boredom.
No doubt. I respect it.
But yeah, the animatronics hold up the best because practical effects are the way to go with movies in general.
Yeah, if you well done practical effects, it just there's something about it where it's like
bad practical effects are better than bad CGI.
For sure.
Like CGI when it's not great is going to age very quickly and make your movie worse eventually.
For sure.
It can't all be liquid metal.
Yeah, and that's one thing we were just talking about Watchmen. Like, I'm glad that the parts that I like, the most important parts still look good. Like, the Dr. Manhattan shit still looks sick.
Yes, that's good CGI. Good CGI is not like it's 1 out of 10 times.
Yeah, for sure. And Jurassic Park has aged pretty well, and I fucking still think it rocks.
Needy as hell. All right. Well, before we go, we always like to talk about a subject, I feel like. And I was talking to you about this beforehand, but I'm going to bring it up again. Stephen King adaptations don't get enough love. They just don't, man. This guy's been making adaptations to his work since what, 1976 or something with Carrie. Carrie was the first adaptation. And I just wanted to point out a few of my favorite on this rewatch that I've realized really stand out. I've been focusing mostly on the horror, but he also has some great ones like The Running Man. But a few that I want to point out that I don't think enough people have seen. The Dark Half, which is directed by George A. Romero. It's on Tubi. Check that one out. Timothy Hutton plays basically an author who has a pseudonym that he uses. So it's almost like Stephen King just wrote based on his own experience with Richard Bachman and brought it to kind of a horror thriller mystery. And I don't want to give away too much about it, but The Dark Half, I highly recommend. Apt Pupil, which not enough people know is a Stephen King adaptation directed by Bryan Singer with Ian McKellen in it. Playing a escaped Nazi war criminal who ends up being this really fucked up kid and they kind of have a back and forth, and it's really, really interesting. Highly recommend Apt Pupil. Also, I believe it's on Tubi. And then I could name a bunch of other ones, but I'll just leave it with those two. And then with my favorite one, which I don't think is underrepresented, but I'm still going to mention here, which is Pet Sematary from 1989. I think it's his best adaptation as well. I've read the book, and this is nearly direct adaptation. Pet Sematary, absolutely great. Don't watch the remake because just watch the original. But yeah, those three are three of my favorites. Do you have any that stick out to you?
Not so much a movie, but like we were talking about it. Shout out to Tubi, man. I've been watching Swamp Thing on Tubi, and dude, it has been fucking doing it for me. So yeah, I will recommend. I'll recommend Swamp Thing. I've been really enjoying it. It's just one season.
Have you seen the movies?
I have. I haven't seen the second one, but I've seen the original one from like the 80s.
Okay.
It's actually like it's pretty. I remember it being. I don't know how I'd rate it now because I saw it when I was a lot younger. But I feel like it might have like a decent like campy quality to it, like So Bad It's
For
Good
sure.
kind of shit. Like some Toxic Avenger kind of style.
Yeah, exactly. It's like almost a trauma movie without being a trauma movie.
Yeah, dude, for sure. So that's kind of what I remember. But dude, I've been enjoying. I haven't finished it. I'm about halfway through it, but I've been enjoying it so far. It's some good like sci-fi horror. And I love what they're doing with the Swamp Thing character itself. And
Sucks it got cut for budget.
I know, yeah, it's fucked up. It's like it's been so good and it got such good reviews, and then they're just like, nah, it's not really what our, and you know it's some bullshit. They had some bullshit think tank and they're like, this isn't really pulling well with like certain
Exactly. It's not getting the ratings they needed.
Like, yeah, God, whatever. So it's like, yeah, it's not a fucking like, you know, it's not gonna be for everybody. So
yep.
But yeah, that's
I've heard good. I've heard good things. I need to check it out.
It's I've been enjoying it, man. It's like it's definitely a slow burn, but I've enjoyed the science shit, like the sci-fi shit. It's all about like diseases and like the swamp and getting like polluted, or you know, and Swamp Thing is, you know, the whole thing about him protecting the green or the swamp or whatever is really cool, and like it's getting gnarly. It's starting to get deeper and deeper, and like I've been enjoying it. Got some good horror shit and some decent action scenes. I wouldn't say it's action packed, but it's enjoyable.
Nice. We'll definitely check it out.
But yeah, that's all I got.
Sweet. Well, it's been a pleasure as always. We're almost to the halfway point of this countdown, but not for another 2 weeks actually, so not quite.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I'm really enjoying this list. I'm already looking at my movies for next week, and yeah, we got some bangers coming up next week, including another A24 movie on the list.
Nice, dude. I can't wait. Let me look at mine real quick before we get out of here. See what I got going on.
Yeah, I got 4 from the 2010s and a 60s movie next week.
Nice.
So
interesting. What is my shit? Next week we are doing. Oh man, dude, I have some. My next week is such a fucking dude movie week. Like these are some fucking bangers, dude. Let's see what the years are. 3 from the 90s, 1 from the 2000s, and 1 from the 80s. But they're all like classic movies. So yeah, next week will be fun.
Can't wait. Most likely it'll be next Thursday, but just stay tuned and you'll know when we go live.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll figure it out, and I'll put out the tweet and shit once we know. Then y'all will. So yeah, that's all I got. If you have anything else you want to plug, or
as always, just went live on the channel with Why We Love Horror. We reviewed Birth Rebirth, which is a movie that just got released on Shudder. One of John and I's favorite movies of 2023. So if you have Shudder, check out Birth Rebirth. It is a super fucked up, great story about it's almost like a Frankenstein type story about a mother trying to bring her child back to life, but it's done in a really grounded, well done, believable sort of way, which is something I kind of said repeatedly on this, but I think the best movies are done that way, and it's got great performances and not get enough love. So check out Birth Rebirth, and then check out the review on Why We Love Horror. We're up to 71 subscribers over there, all been completely organically, so appreciate everybody who's given that love as well. We got trivia over there as well, so yeah, just give the channel some love. If you're not, it's Why We Love Horror on YouTube. So and then Aaron the Dog MMA and Movie Trivia is the other channel, which will be brought back to life next month, so stay tuned for that. But thank you as always for having me on. This was a pleasure, and I got some bangers to watch. So hopefully hopefully a few people have some new movies that they can check out. And shout out to Tubi for not sponsoring us, but just for being around.
Yes, indeed, dude. Great shouts, and yeah, big shout out to Tubi, man, for bringing entertainment to the people for free.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, shout out to everyone that came through. Appreciate it. Make sure y'all smash the like button before y'all get out of here, and we will be back next week. We'll let you know as soon as we do, and I will be back tomorrow, probably around 2 p.m. for like I'm gonna do a ceremonial weigh-ins pregame, but I gotta check the times to be sure. But that's what I got going on this channel, and then I will probably be back Monday for a recap, and then looking like next Thursday for the next episode of the Cosmic Countdown. But we will keep y'all updated. But yeah, that's it for this week. Again, thanks everyone for coming through. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and yeah, for Aaron the puppy dog. This is just
such an insult. Such an insult.
I know, dude. That was on purpose, dude. I was trying to zing you there at the end. So
got me good.
No, man. Thank you, and thanks to everyone that came through. Hope you all have a good one, and we will hope to catch you next time. Peace.